It's now time that we move smoothly from human leadership to scientific frontiers. Hyderabad stands as a world leader in life sciences and shift toward global capability centers, GCCs, is transforming the industry. It is now time that we invite our experts onto the stage to decode Hyderabad's life sciences GCC revolution. For the same, I request Mr. Sarvesh Singh, Director and CEO, Telangana Life Sciences, Government of Telangana, to kindly join us on stage with a huge round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated as this session is going to be quite insightful, quite impactful. I request Dr. Vivek Jha, Clinical Director, Stride Health Clinics, to kindly join us on stage with a huge round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all give it up for the gentleman on stage. I request Mr. Vishal Mahajan, Senior Director, Software Engineer, Calon, to kindly join us on stage. I also request Mr. Anmol Kodak, Senior Director of Engineering, Head R&D Software and System AI, Medtronics, to kindly join us on stage with a huge round of applause. And of course, our moderator, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Shashir Kumar, Vice President, Healthcare and Life Sciences, Optum, to kindly join us and moderate this session insightfully.
All right. Thank you for getting us all together here, Sarvesh Garu. I think it's been first of all, warm welcome to all my esteemed panel, right from Amol, Vishal, we had chance, and Dr. Vivek and Sarvesh. We've seen that there have been a lot of strides in the healthcare and life sciences GCC ecosystem in Hyderabad. And the topic itself is very exciting. I would like to divide this panel in 4 topics. I think first one is, if you look at from the policy and the structuring, how the policy and the structures from the state government have helped the evolution of GCCs from a cost to a value center. So I think the first question to you, Sarvesh, what are your viewpoints on this piece from evolution of GCCs from a cost to a value center, and how the government and the policy have supported that?
So first of all, thanks everybody for being here and listening views of the panelists. And I think in terms of policy, and if you look the GCC needs, couple of things which GCC needs. One is the talent. Second thing which they need is the infrastructure. Third thing which they need is the innovation and incubation system. And fourth thing which they need is the supporting ecosystem. And I think government policy has really helped, because Telangana and Hyderabad especially today has one of the world's largest incubation campuses, T-Hub. There are 20 plus dedicated life sciences incubators. Similarly, there are several other incubation centers which are dedicated to different streams, and that gives confidence to these GCCs that yes, we have a talent which is innovative, which thinks differently. Otherwise, these many innovation ecosystems, they will not exist. Second thing is that if you look from the infrastructure perspective, government has been building clusters. So there are different clusters. So you'll not see manufacturing happening in high-tech city area, and you'll not see any GCC in Genome Valley. So for everything, government has built a different cluster, and that cluster actually attracts GCCs. And third thing from policy perspective which has helped is that government has always tried to have policies which are more business friendly. Even if you look into the ministers of the state, they are very approachable. They operate more like industrialists than what you normally see in any other states. So some of these things, they have been very helpful on top of other incentives which government gives in terms of capital investment, then your reimbursement of state GST, then power subsidy, and several other subsidies which are there as part of the incentive.
Oh, fantastic. I think when you look at the government and the moderate support, there's been a lot of evolution and changes. My question to you, Amol, is, when you look at this shift, there's a strategic shift from, the cost arbitrage to innovation, powering the innovation engine from either med devices perspective or new clinical trials, and then I'll come to you, Vivek. But I think what's your viewpoint on that piece, and how do you think the companies have responded from this ecosystem perspective?
Thanks, Shishir. A very good afternoon to everyone. I'm Amol from Medtronic. So Medtronic is a medical device leader, and to link it to Shishir's question, right? how it is evolving. So in Hyderabad, earlier wave was more of a scale, right? More people, more focused on cost arbitrage. How do we scale global capability center? Over the years, we have transformed or are transforming into value-based GCCs. So instead of saying, okay, how many more people, we are saying, okay, what is the value we can give in terms of innovation, in terms of product ownership to the global organization. If I take example of Medtronic, the largest R&D center of Medtronic outside of United States is in Hyderabad. And it's a research and development effort that is going on here. So that is how I see evolution happening. Definitely there are, it's not an easy path from moving from cost arbitrage, just cost arbitrage to innovation. It takes both leadership talent and engineers. What I see is going forward, how do we build global leaders from Hyderabad is going to be a key question, who understands product, who understand end customers of life sciences and medtech, and who can lead from here for the globe. So that is where I see, Shishir, it is going.
No, great. Thank you so much for that piece. When we look at this from your, thank you for the Medtronic perspective. I think it's very insightful. Vivek, from your experience, if you look at what are the specific global responsibilities, meaning right from global regulatory filings to clinical trial designs, are exclusively now anchored out of Hyderabad GCCs. How do you think the transformation has been from your experience standpoint? You've been a veteran in this space.
Yeah.
It'll be nice to hear from the horse's mouth. Always that's what people want.
So thank you. First of all, I guess I'm audible there. Everyone is. Yeah. Again, thank you so much for staying with us. Right. It looks like good number of audience, right, to at least respond to this, right. So innovation is a quotient of content, right? I think somebody also talked about content, right? And it takes time to build that content. It starts from your education, undergraduation, post-graduation, then your application of those learnings, right? What I have seen in my 2 decades of journey with innovation R&D in India, especially let's say Novartis, J&J, Lilly, I think there are some levers that we already have which is very, very dominant in India already, right? So we don't have to, nobody debates about it now, right? I would use one statement today. For example, Novartis cannot launch any product today globally if Hyderabad center won't exist. I think that's a big achievement for ecosystem like Hyderabad, right? But what I was talking to Sridhar Garu when he was sitting next to me in the morning, and I have spent already 2 decades in this industry, and I'm hoping that before Sarvesh and I get retired, right, we should see some kind of true innovation which is really in the labs of the biology and the chemistry, which is really true medical product coming out of this ecosystem. So I think there's a journey, I would say, but I think we are already arrived with respect to a lot of products, a lot of sets of processes that goes into R&D. So that's where we stand today. I'm sure it is same for Medtronic. Like we look forward for any device to come out of India, which everybody says this is a brand coming out of India. But yes, the potential is out there.
Well said.
Before I come to Amol, any comments on that piece? Right, he mentioned about that the whole designed clinical trial, whatever, until a molecule goes through the Novartis center. Any insights from you from a med device perspective?
Yeah. So again, thanks for those perspectives, Vivek. Med devices and med tech, let's be also fair that it's evolving in India, right? In Hyderabad as well, so probably Medtronic is the largest med tech center, but we would like to see more of those, more and more R&D innovation setups to be set up here. Now, good part about how it is going is the ecosystem is really ramping up to the speed. So we have our T-Hub, my friend Sarvesh is ensuring that all of us are connected and are kind of active on doing something about it. Our triple ITs or reputed institutes are there, startup ecosystem is there, and for MedTech, what is more unique or what we are doing is tying up with some of the best hospitals in Hyderabad and around for research feasibility studies. So it is very tightly coupled research going on with our hospitals. We also have wet labs, which is driving the next set of innovation. I may not be able to tell everything right now, but really exciting stuff happening here, right? So
I think, thank you for that. That's a very good insight. I mean, I'm sure audience would love to know from you later, but I think it's a great piece. Now, when we talked about this clinical trial and drug discovery innovation, how do you think, Amol, you've been a veteran in this industry from healthcare and life sciences, digital engineering space. AI is disrupting. Everybody's talked about AI, and a minister also spoke about that. And he wants one molecule and to be discovered from here. When we talk about this, we are doing clinical trials, we are exposing various clinical studies. How do you handle data privacy and compliance and ethics? Which is a very, and this question is not to you. Vivek, please chime in. Amol, please chime in, and then we'll follow up. We'll try to put our CEO on the spot at the end. Yes. But let's start from you, Amol, on that piece.
Thanks for the good.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, yes.
Thanks for the question. So when it comes to compliance part of it, many of the compliance aspects are pretty much built in into the technology solution that we have created. And AI is definitely posing both the opportunities as well as threats. So we need to control and govern AI in a big way. And that's what we are trying to do in Carlon and for Elevance Health as parent company also. So there are many solutions which are driven by data, and how that data need to get in the hands of either clinicians or in the hands of our consumers and customers. So we are just ensuring by sitting in India, by having those right governance and policies around it.
Okay. How about you? Over to the global data privacy and the selected guidelines. Yeah.
Sure. So basically, like data privacy or data concern has two elements, right? One is that how you treat your personal data, right? And second is how the person who you entrust with your data treats the data, right?
Right.
And I think in the case of R&D ecosystem, using whether we take AI, non-AI, any kind of world, data leakage is possible, right? We all have seen cases where a lot of phase 1, phase 2 trial data has been ruled to be not accurately measured. So the evidences have been challenged in past as well, right? So I don't see that changing. I think that need to be managed at very, very ethical and the individual level. So that is point number one. Point number two is the policies that government is making. For example, GDPD policy which has come in India now. There's already a lot of focus for GCCs, or let's say the product companies also to have their own data privacy policies, data integrity policies. There are a lot of trainings if you are working in any corporate. Almost every week you get a training about data. So I think it's I see it very, I'm not very concerned about it. Let's say in this world when we are anyway sharing a lot of data through Google and a lot of application you can't use without sharing. So I think with respect to science and technology, I think it is pretty good. As long as our policies and the CFR regulations are being followed by FDA, by DCGI, I think we are pretty okay there. I will not be unnecessarily worried about, especially in the drug development space, right? And the devices as well, right? We are not so much worried about it.
Nice.
No, sure. I mean, a very relevant question, Shishir. Everyone talks about AI, but not everyone talks about the guardrails and the challenges, correct? So in the med devices or the life sciences world, it's all about human life and death you're talking about. And the guardrails of ensuring that the patient life is at the center of everything is so critical. The decisions are made accordingly. So AI, the way we are treating more from a privacy and implementation standpoint is AI as a assistant, but always human is in the driver's seat. Yeah. So it's like you were driving a earlier car, a combustion engine car, and now you have a booster engine. Those booster engines are AI, but the driver is still human. So that is what is we are putting in terms of processes, yes, guardrails. Human in the loop is mandatory, whether you are building a product throughout the life cycle. So AI is, so let's say something was taking 5 years, the life cycles are quite longer. You can reduce it to 3 years, but AI output should be checked. You have to ensure your data structures are really right. If not right, look at your manual part. But yes, human in the loop, right policy guidelines, right anonymization, patient data is protected. That is how we are looking at it.
While we are on this topic, I think before we pivot you mentioned about the ecosystem. We'll come to the ecosystem and collaboration, question to Sarvesh. Before that, since we are on this topic, we hear a lot about the AI-led drug discovery. Can you share a concrete example by which, in your experience, Amol and Vivek, how this particular disruptive technology, which you said is the booster engine, has shortened the life cycle? And can you give, maybe you need not be very specific, but at least an example by which it incites some kind of a interest with the public?
I'll definitely share an example, okay? So I'm sure many of you know the endoscopy procedure. It's quite painful, correct? So there's a new medical device that there's a built, which is like a vitamin capsule. So you take it, it has a camera in front of it, and it takes thousands of pictures while going through the GI tract, body. Now it generates thousands of images. The process has become simpler, but who will analyze the images? So AI is being used to analyze those thousands of images and tell how is your colon tract, colonoscopy, right? And are there cancerous cells present? Now this, for human to check thousands of images and detect smaller places where cancerous cells are there, is extremely difficult. So AI algorithms are telling us, and this is implemented, this is available, tells us that, okay, there is a chance of colon cancer here, and this is where I saw images. But the decision is being made by the doctor. Doctor reviews those images and then tells, oh, I see a possibility. The decision is, so it's a clinical decision support system. So that's how it is helping. But again, as I said, human in the loop, the physician is in the loop, but it is really helping to diagnose some of the things which were not possible earlier.
Nice.
And maybe I'll add to the drug discovery, right?
Before you answer, I think I know, and it's a very interesting, basis your 2 decades of experience, I would like to pivot to that point and transfer to you.
Right.
With AI and without AI, I would like you to give an example and how things have changed. Because that also will be a very exciting journey in terms of how things have changed and shaped up. And that's another thing that is shaping our GCC story as well. Yeah. So while AI is infusing, but I think I'd like to hear from you, from your experience, both ways.
Sure. So I think just to give an example, right? Normally, I don't know how many people are interested to hear about science, but one drug development takes average of 12 to 15 years. Average industry average around 13.8 years, right? Close to.
Correct.
Now half of it is discovery, half of it is development, right? Yep. What example I was quoting, and you all can read about it, in silico medicine, what they have done using AI for the idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. This is a fibrosis that happens without any reason in lungs. They were able to cut short that time 4.6 years to close to 18 months. Now that's a very good news for humanity. That it means that you can expect at least 2-3 years of life cycle to be reduced, right? So this is an example, very crude, I can give. From the operational perspective, right? In terms of development, right? Let's say earlier to develop something, do some research, you need to put some rules, right? That rule book is called protocol, right? In common language. Earlier, you will take easily 4 to 6 months to kind of just arrive at that protocol, or sometimes 9 months also, right? What many companies are trying to use it, create it using AI, right? Of course, you are not replacing doctors who decide the primary endpoint, the secondary endpoint, etc. But then you can cut short the timeline. So I see that, for example, my examples as well, I have seen, you can do it around, let's say, 4 to 6 weeks now, they're attempting for. So I think these are some 2 examples I wanted to give you, yeah.
Very, very nice. I don't know if audience concurs with that, but I'm pretty sure today we are talking of years to months to weeks. In coming time, I think if we are the same panel, it's going to be in seconds or hours or, whatever. So it's very nice. And I have a very interesting question for you, Sarvesh. I know you've been a very, very strong aggregator in terms of getting the policymakers, the pharma companies, the med devices companies together. What do you think, why do you think Hyderabad has been able to gift as a city to congregate all of this together and reduce the divide of the talent pool, etc.? What do you think has been the differentiator as a city, as an ecosystem here?
So I think this is a common question which get asked in most of the panel discussions I have been part of. And I always start with the centuries old history that in Hyderabad, life sciences and pharma related activities, they did not start just few years or few decades back. It started even before India became independent. So I go back to Nizam's time, then in 1944, the Nizam of Hyderabad established CLSIR, Central Laboratories for Scientific and Industrial Research, and that became the genesis for everything which we see today. Because in 1964, when Prime Minister of that time was looking for a city where he can establish Indian Drug Pharmaceuticals Limited, he chose Hyderabad. Because the talent was already built by the CLSIR. That same institution is now called as Indian Institute of Chemical Technology. Still, it is very renowned. Later on, when successive governments at the center, they started looking for setting up research centers, again they found that there is already an ecosystem in Hyderabad. So that is how we got Center for Cellular and Molecular Biology. That is how we got Center for DNA Fingerprinting and Diagnostics. That is how we got National Institute of Nutrition. That is how we got National Institute of Pharmaceutical Education and Research. So all these educational institutions, they were established because there was already a strong base. Later on, when we started observing the type of talent which was coming out of pharmacy colleges and the technology colleges, they also found that Hyderabad has a very strong ecosystem, and that is why Hyderabad today has second highest number of pharmacy colleges, just after Maharashtra. Today we have highest number of engineering colleges just after Karnataka. So if you come up both technology and biology, there is no other city in India which can beat the amount of talent which we are producing. So when the companies saw, whether they are GCCs or manufacturing plants, that there is a very strong research ecosystem because of Indian Drug Pharmaceutical Limited, there was also very strong manufacturing ecosystem because Dr. Anji Reddy, who was founder of Dr. Reddy's, he was an employee with IDPL. And later on, he had an employee, Dr. Parthasath Reddy, who started with Hetero. So all of those things started because of the centuries old system which was set up. Other thing which Dr. Chandrababu Naidu, when he was ruling the state, he did was that he started giving lot of incentives to all these tech giants. And that is why today in Hyderabad you will see, you name any tech giant, whether it is Microsoft, whether it is Google, whether it is Amazon, whether it is Meta, whether it is Apple, you name any tech giant, they have one of their largest R&D centers outside their headquarters here in Hyderabad. You name any Indian IT company, whether it is TCS, Infosys, Tech Mahindra, Wipro, all of them have one of their largest centers here in Hyderabad. So when GCCs, they started exploring that, hey, which is the center which can help us in innovation, they again chose Hyderabad because they were looking for tech talent that was coming out of all these tech giants. They were looking for domain that was coming from these research institutions and all these pharma manufacturing companies. And as I said earlier, that government has always been very supportive with their policy, with access to the government, with ease of doing business. Even last year, the state of Telangana was awarded as #1 state in terms of simplifying the number of policies across all states in India. So I think all of this ecosystem was built over centuries and has been built for next several decades before any other state could take over.
This is very exciting. I don't know if the audience knew about the 1940 institution that was created by the Nizam, which evolved into IICT. But IICT has been at the helm of I would not say only chemical technology, but biosciences, even deep engineering, and amalgamating all these together. While we talk about the sweet spot of the modern GCCs, the IT talent and the scientific talent, how do you think you are bridging the gap between the bioinformatics and the core digital engineering. Because if you look at the software engineering, the evolution has been from a small stack to mid stack to full stack and integrating back end, front end, blah, blah. So Amol, it'll be very interesting to know how are you integrating the biosciences, the bioinformatics, and the further division happening. And this is very important, pivotal to the R&D and how you attract talent and how the GCC ecosystem grows together. Otherwise, this can go to any other city as a perspective. Yeah.
See, in today's world, talent definition is changing. As you rightly said, front end, back end developers, those are the things of the past. And now we need to start building with AI. The moment we start building with AI, and I just want to give you an example. I was talking to our HR leader a few weeks back. I just gave my help of my team, and that HR leader has created his own app now and deployed also. So which means that now he can create his own dashboard. He does not need technology. So pivoting back to the life sciences. So that's the talent what we need, which could help us identify the right problem. I think solutions, we have a lot of different tools, technologies at our helm, and we could use that to develop the solution. So integration of AI with domain talent, that's what we are focusing on while we are just solving for our HQs. Now we have started realizing another aspect as well, that how we can drive business outcomes and value. And I just want to acknowledge what Sarvesh said, because we are looking at the integration of academia. Academia is providing us the right set of people, and we are going and investing in that talent, telling them, hey, you can come do a longer term internship with us so that we could just teach you guys. And that's how we are trying to build talent in-house by leveraging the academia, by leveraging the startup ecosystem as well, because we have legacy of 90 years old, and then we can only move at a certain speed, whereas startup provide us the agility what we need, and they tell us how to solve a problem in as less resources as possible. So in culmination of all these things together, I think what ecosystem is providing us. So I would say that we as a GCC are aspiring big, and our HQs are looking at us as a microcosm, and they want us to solve the problem, and they want us to lead the transformation through the talent itself.
Nice. What was your viewpoint, Vivek and Amol, on this? How critical is the collaboration between since he mentioned about the academia and startups, how critical is this very initiative in terms of academic institutions and things like Genome Valley and others coming together and transforming the talent pool here?
Yeah. I don't know how many people are here from academia. Please raise up the hand. How many people are from academia and how many are from startups? Academia? No one? Startups? Yeah.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, all the big organizations, right, they become very mammoth after a period of existence, right? For example, any company like Novartis 250 years, Eli Lilly 150 years, right? The problem with these big organizations is they become very slow, right? That's why they need these fresh bloods, like people who are very engaged in this room, for example, to learn about these new things, to come and maybe help give a different perspective, right? So that's what I see is the biggest advantage. Otherwise, if you see the news, like all the companies are investing in the startups, right, which we never heard maybe 5 years back. Anthropic is an example, right, in AI space. Servam, another example, I just got about it to learn about it in the morning today. So these startups have huge potential to come and help in optimizing the processes and sometimes even challenging the core, right? In silico medicine is no pharma, nobody knew it, right? Few years back. Talking about academia, I see this still a big gap. I was listening to Dr. Preeti Reddy. I completely agree that we have to really think how our basic studies, and I talk about science, how the basic science is eventually converting, we call it translational science, into a tangible product, which is a medicine, right? And I don't see it happening a lot in India at the moment, and that's why you see a lot of people go for PG and PhDs abroad, right? But probably it's a responsibility of everyone, right? I will not say industry has nothing to do with that, right? Industry also have to come forward, like Medtronic, like Novartis, Lilly, how we invest in US, I think we should think about some portion of investment in India as well. But good examples are there. You might have heard about Nest by Novartis. You must have heard about some AstraZeneca they are trying to do with CSIR. I think a lot of people are trying to do certain things, but I think it needs to be done more from both the sides. And for sure, leaders like Sarvesh are playing a facilitator role to kind of bring these things together. I think that's the only solution I have, right, in my view.
Very, very interesting point you brought about the academia perspective in terms of the how the research and R&D or the our talent pool needs to be shaped up. I think that's a feedback, Sarvesh. I think we need to actually see how we amalgamate the public policy and the academia and this certification so that we bring about the Western to the world, from India to the world kind of thing. While I say this, I'd like to finally hear your viewpoint on this, Amol, and then we have a very interesting question from my side for all of you as a panel. Then,
All right. No, I'll tie it back to your earlier question, Shishir, which was how are we moving Hyderabad from a cost arbitrage GCC hub to a innovation engine, values focused hub, right? And to do that, companies cannot work on their own. They need a very strong ecosystem. And ecosystem partnership are extremely critical,
Absolutely.
right? So if you want to become the innovation engine for the world, Hyderabad has a potential. Talent is there, no question about that. We have investments coming in. How do we move in terms of mindset? And the ecosystem is what is going to make a difference in next 5 to 10 years. Ecosystems are evolving, and with, like Vivek talked about it, right? Like people like Sarvesh and others who are playing those role. But yes, startup ecosystem is evolving, but not just tech focused, but how are we solving some of the real patient problem, therapies, right? Can we go towards that? That research is also needed, but that's one part. We have a strong academic institutes. How do we make them more innovator? So AI is there, technology pieces we are strong at. How do we complement it with the product mindset? How do we complement with the end customer challenge mindset? So that is where I see we need to evolve. But yes, Hyderabad has some of the great animal labs as well, wet labs.
Yes.
We have great hospitals and if you go to hospitals, and I'll not take names, but all these big hospitals, go into them, the physicians are having great research mindset. They want to do something better for India and for the globe, and we can definitely partner. So we are doing that, but definitely an evolving place, Shishir, where we want to go.
thank you. I think very relevant pointers in terms of how you are changing the shift from your regular academia to AI and infusing. Since we are infusing AI, you mentioned about artificial intelligence. It's an evolving space. How do you think your organizations are tackling? How are you doing the change management, transformation, and how is it that being supported at the atomic level? I think that will be a great point to mention. We've been talking about AI deploying in clinical trial. Can you tell at an org level, right from your researcher to your IT, to the IT help desk, to the CEO, how are you managing the change and transformation from an AI perspective? Any comments? It's an open question to all three of you or four of you, and we'll come to Sarvesh on.
So I think if you look from the government of Telangana perspective, there is a very strong push, and government has always been pushing for innovation, whether it is AI or whether it is digital or whether it is quantum, whether it is drug discovery. You take any area, they have always been pushing for it. So there are three things which government plays in terms to build a very thriving ecosystem in which companies can not just start but even thrive. And one of the great things which government is doing, that they are building an AI city, and a lot of good investments are coming in that area. Second thing is that government is partnering with all the institutions to understand that what type of AI research could be driven from that AI city. Third thing which they are doing is that they are already discussing not just with tech giants but also with the companies which are very strong in different domains, that how we can use the existing ecosystem which is already there, whether it is BFSI, whether it is pharma, whether it is aero defense, whether it is logistics. There are several areas where Telangana is already in top 3. So now they are discussing that how all these companies, they can work together in terms of leveraging the everything which is being built in and around AI city. Other thing which government of Telangana, and I think this is the only state which has done, is understood the importance of data. because garbage in and garbage out is the philosophy which will go at a scale when it will come to adoption of AI. And that is where government has come up with TZ decks, where people can get verified anonymized data of patient population in order to do their research. And I think government of Telangana is the only state which has come up with such type of data. So on one hand, they are building the infrastructure. On other hand, they are making sure that there is a reliable data for running the AI models.
What an amazing road ahead in terms of infrastructure and data, both being made available. Nice. Over to you.
No, it's okay. Thank you. It was great.
And one last, one last question for all of you. You know, in one word or a phrase, what will be the biggest defining characteristic of Hyderabad GCC ecosystem, the life science in 2030? Any one thing that you think will be defining the healthcare life sciences GCC ecosystem in 2030?
I think they will be the leaders, and rest of the states and GCCs, they will be the followers.
Fantastic. Thank you. Very nicely said. Thank you. What a wonderful panel we had. Any questions from the audience? Any questions? And we have one gentleman here, please.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Wonderful panel. I mean, very insightful. I have one question. I run a school of entrepreneurship. We have young entrepreneurs. Okay, we have young entrepreneurs from 18 to 21 years of age. Are the GCCs, or say, in fact, in the space of life sciences, would be open to entrepreneurship as a concept? I mean, do you have startups coming out of your systems, and what kind of talent would you be open to kind of see in that space? Is there any funds available within your companies, and how is the entrepreneurship also coming up in your system?
So you are asking about funds for
you guys invest in your own
startups?
Employees? Yes, startups within your system.
See, we have that ecosystem where we are partnering with T-Hub right now, and we invite T-Hub startups which are more relevant to healthcare to come to our office, 2 startups in a month. And then there's a innovation council which just invites them. We listen in. There are sponsors that look at their solutions, and eventually if that solution ties back to our problem statement, we just invest in that.
And are these problem statements public? I mean, can the students or anyone see those?
See, some of the problem statements are public. Let me just tell you, right? Every dollar that we get as a premium today, 90 cents we are spending on care. All right, so cost of care is one of the biggest thing. If there are any ways by which we could solve, reduce the cost of care and get maybe 5 cents from that, I think that's really going to help. There are many other administrative things also, but I'll talk to you offline and then make sure, because I'm in touch with variety of different startups where I gave them problem statement, they were so agile, came back with the solutions, and now we are just trying to incubate them.
Anyone? No, I think the large companies or the company investing, they have their own governance, and basis the governance, they engage with either a social ecosystem or the startup ecosystem.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. What a wonderful session. And there's one more last question, Soba.
Thank you so much. There have really been certain insightful, understandable points which I have got. My name is Chakradhari Sharma. I am director of a upskilling company. It's a startup, Quantum School of AI. So I was looking at the skill gap that probably in your research, when you look at, you probably come across certain skills. No, these are not still equipped, and we probably be looking at more advanced skills. So where do you see that gap? You really, are you falling short of real strength, which could, bring down the total tenure from 6 years to 18 months or further down? But then you had it been that you have got real skills that could have further shortened down or maybe advanced a bit. Question could be, I have a couple of questions. This is my first one. Yeah.
I think if you look at the way the whole world is evolving, right? If you go into Stone Age, there was one skill which was required. That is how to keep yourself physically fit so that you can make maximum use of all the infrastructure which is available, right? That skill lasted for several decades. Then another skill was required, another skill was required. When we came to the tech era, what we realized was that the skills which were working for centuries and decades, now they are becoming irrelevant just in a year, right? So this idea of catching up with the skill requirements, that is where you'll see a lot of words being used, no, reskilling, upskilling and all that.
I was particularly in the era of AI, I'm talking of. This is a total transformational change. I am an IIT Roorkee alumni. I have done my post-graduation and all. So I understand, I've been 25 years in tech space. So I was thinking that this is a total revolutionary change on Gen AI right now, but then it will go a little further as we move by. But in your domain, in life sciences domain, you see that had there been certain AI kind of development.
I think you are not audible. Maybe we can catch up during the break.
Let's do one thing. Sorry about that, but I think in the interest of time, let's catch
up.
offline, and then you can catch one of the founders and the directors here. Right? Thank you. Thank you for a wonderful panel.
Thank you so much.
Amol. Thank you, Vivek. Thank you,
everyone.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.